For 10,000 years, the Xyrath Dominion moved through the galaxy like a winter storm. Silent, unstoppable, uncaring. Worlds fell beneath their metallic fleets as easily as dry leaves under marching boots. They had conquered 52 species, erased 19 completely, and enslaved the rest. None had ever resisted for long. None had ever dared. On the command bridge of the dreadnought Obsidian Crown, High Marshal Xyrath watched the holographic display of a small blue world turning slowly beneath them. The planet was beautiful, oceans shimmering like liquid sapphire, continents bruised with forests and deserts. A primitive jewel. The natives called it Earth. Marshal, planetary census complete. Rast as tactical overseer. Population, approximately 8 billion. Technology level, pre-warp. Nuclear arms minimal. No unified government. Internal conflict is constant. Xyrath made a sound that, in his species, passed for amusement. Another fractured young species, he said, too busy fighting themselves to look upward. 3 months of covert orbiting observation had told him everything he needed. Humans were loud, emotional, endlessly chaotic and predictable. They built weapons to fight each other, not real enemies. They talked about peace but prepared for war. They dreamed of stars but barely reached their moon. We begin the purge cycle, Xyrath commanded. Arm the antimatter lances. The Xyrath did not negotiate, not with emergent species. To them, young civilizations were insects, potentially dangerous if allowed to multiply. They struck before the insects knew they were seen. Above the blue planet, 14 launch bays opened like black eyes. 12 antimatter warheads dropped silently into Earth's atmosphere, glowing like threads of white fire. Below, it was an ordinary day. A baker in Paris shaped dough for the evening rush. A school in Nigeria recited morning lessons. A couple in Tokyo argued softly about weekend plans. Astronomers in Chile looked through telescopes, unaware that death was already falling through their sky. At 3:47 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, the first warhead wiped Shanghai from existence. Not destroyed, erased. The blast shone brighter than dawn, and then the city was simply gone. The world froze. 10 seconds later, New Delhi vanished. Then Lagos. Then New York. Then Rio, Cairo, London, Moscow, Sydney, Mexico City, Jakarta, and Seoul. 12 cities. 12 pillars of silent fire. In 17 minutes, 2 billion humans were dead. On the bridge of the Obsidian Crown, Xyrath watched calmly. Proceed with the harvesting protocols, he said. We stripped their metals, then scorched the crust. No survivors. But then, Marshal, something is wrong. Xyrath turned. What now? Human broadcast stations are reactivating. Hundreds, possibly thousands. They are transmitting something. Visual. The speakers fill with sound. Not screaming. Not panic pleas. Not demands for peace. It was laughter. Dark, broken laughter. The kind heard from a person who had lost everything and had nothing left to fear. It echoed across the bridge like a curse. Then a single human voice spoke. You have our attention. A ripple of unease moved across the Xyrath officers. Xyrath dismissed it. Continue the harvest. But the drones never made it. As the first wave of 300 harvesting machines descended to the smoke-filled atmosphere, the first drone exploded, 40 kilometers above the surface. Impact from below, yelled the overseer. Impossible velocity. Another drone died. Then 5 more. Then dozens. Explosions erupted across the holographic map like sparks. Marshal, humans are firing rail projectiles from mountain ranges, ocean trenches, underground silos, locations we did not detect. Xyrath's eyes narrowed. Show me. The screen filled with red markers. Thousands of them. Hidden facilities. Subterranean tunnels. Seabed rail cannons. Buried machine citadels. Defense grids that no satellite had ever seen. Humans had built defenses not for aliens. No, they had built them because they feared each other. They had prepared for nuclear winter, asteroid strikes, extinction-level pandemics. They had prepared to survive the end of the world. Now that paranoia had teeth. More drones fell. Hundreds, then 1,000. Marshal, 78% of our drones are destroyed. Humans are coordinating retaliatory fire across continents. Retaliatory fire from a species that had lost 2 billion people less than an hour ago. Then another transmission arrived. This time not laughter. A woman's voice, steady, cold, commanding. This is Commander Helena Ward of Earth's Emergency Defense Charter. You murdered 2 billion of our citizens today. You destroyed our cities. You believed we would kneel. A pause. You were wrong. We recorded your energy signatures. We traced your trajectories. We mapped your fleet. And we are not dying. We are rising. Then her final sentence chilled even the battle-hardened Xyrath bridge crew. You have woken something ancient in us. We are coming for you. For the first time in Corvetha's long life, he felt something unfamiliar crawling beneath his armored skin. Fear. The stars were no longer quiet. Humanity had just entered the war. The world burned above them. But deep under the crust of the Himalayas, Bunker Helios, 9 thrummed with life. Red emergency lights flickered across steel corridors. Engineers jogged past medics. Soldiers rushed between armories, and scientists pored over holograms that crackled with interference. Everything smelled of concrete, cold metal, and recycled air, an underground fortress built for the day humanity hoped would never arrive. It had arrived. Commander Helena Ward stepped out of the steel lift shaft and entered the central command gallery. She was 68, her hair silver but her posture rigid as tempered alloy. Once a naval strategist, once a political scandal, once forgotten by the world, now suddenly the only person holding together what remained of a broken species. "Hollow feeds," she ordered. A circular table brightened, casting a ghostly blue light across her stern face. 12 ruined city sites appeared, glowing wounds across a spinning projection of Earth. Colonel Marcus Hale, her second in command, cleared his throat softly. "We have confirmed contact with 190 bunkers," he said. "Population estimate, around 2.4 billion survivors. Oxygen filtration is stable. Water synthesis reactors at 80%. Helena closed her eyes for a moment. 2 billion dead, yet 2 billion alive. "Surface contamination?" she asked. "Severe," Hale replied. "Radiation spikes across the northern hemisphere. Atmosphere partially destabilized. But with drones, filtration rigs, and weather modulation, 18 months, maybe less." "We will rebuild," Helena murmured. A tremor rolled through the bunker walls, like a distant thunderclap from hell. Several staff members flinched. "Aftershocks from orbital detonations," Hale explained. "Still happening." Helena looked at the screens again. Status of the Titan shelters? Armstrong Luna Base. Intact. Mars Enclave. Intact. The orbital shipyards. Also intact. Helena's eyes hardened. The shipyards. Humanity's most closely guarded secret. Not the tiny public vessels everyone knew about, but massive, weaponized carriers forged in the moon's shadow. "What about the fleet?" she asked. Hale tapped a few controls, and a new projection emerged. Rows of monstrous vessels hidden in lunar caverns, each marked with green operational symbols. 312 warships ready, he reported. Another 170 in assembly. And he hesitated. Prometheus protocol is functional. Prometheus, humanity's final gamble. The project that terrified even its creators. A weapon not meant to destroy planets, but empires. "Begin full mobilization," Helena said. "Every ship, every pilot, every scientist. Whatever survives must fight." Hale nodded grimly. "But what about orbital Xyrath forces?" he asked. "They still have supremacy. We can't break through yet." Helena stared at the floating hologram of the alien dreadnoughts, circling Earth like vultures over a corpse. "We don't need to break through," she said quietly. "We need prisoners." 3 days later, the Xyrath made a mistake. A small reconnaissance vessel dipped through Earth's atmosphere, scanning the ruined cities, searching for signs of surrender. Its crew, only 10 biological officers, expected no danger. The Xyrath believed the human counterassault was temporary defiance. They didn't realize human submarines were still alive from the depths of the Pacific, 6 missiles pierced the ocean surface, streaking upward like luminous spears. They struck the alien craft not to destroy it, but to cripple it, shearing its engines, shredding its wings, force it to tumble like a stone into a remote Siberian valley. Human strike teams surrounded the wreckage within minutes. They weren't gentle. The Xyrath fought with claws, shock weapons, and razor-sharp limbs, proud warriors, even in death. But they were unfamiliar with human close-quarters combat. Humans had centuries of brutal experience fighting each other with knives, fists, broken glass, and desperation. Within half an hour, 5 living Xyrath were sedated, bound, and placed inside armored transports. "Take them to Helios 12, Helena ordered, "and bring in the linguists." Dr. Mira Aslan, humanity's foremost language decryptor, waited behind a wall of reinforced glass as the first prisoner regained consciousness. The alien stood nearly 3 meters tall, its 4 emerald eyes radiating contempt. Its exoskeletal armor was charred but intact. It towered over Mira, small, quiet, unassuming Mira, like a predator evaluating prey. She didn't flinch. For days, her team had dissected the Xyrath cybernetics retrieved from the crash site, deciphering patterns in vocal vibrations, symbol glyphs, and neural communication. A revelation emerged. Their grammar was hierarchical. Their language encoded dominance. They refused to converse with inferiors. If you spoke like a subordinate, they ignored you. If you spoke like a superior, they had no choice. Mira stepped toward a microphone, inhaled, and recited a phrase in crude, imperfect Xyrath. "Your fleets crumble. Your drones burn. Your warriors kneel. You are beneath us." The alien froze. Those were dominance-inflected verbs, phrases only a higher-ranked Xyrath would use. One of its eyes twitched. Then it spoke, low, resentful, but unmistakably compliant. Mira smiled faintly. "We have our first words," she whispered to Hale. Within days, she could form basic sentences. Within weeks, she held entire structured discussions. Within a month, the Xyrath prisoners revealed the truth. Their empire was vast, thousands of worlds under their heel. Their navigation maps detailed every colony. Their war fleets had fixed patrol patterns unchanged for centuries. Their network security was so outdated it might as well be open doors. The Xyrath had grown powerful by winning for 10,000 years. And because of that, they never evolved. Arrogance had calcified into weakness. Helena Ward stared at the intelligence report, her expression turning into something dangerous. "They think we're dying," she said. "Good. Let them believe it." She turned toward the massive holoscreen displaying Earth. Begin Stage 2. The war for the galaxy had begun. The moon hung above Earth like a silent witness. Its gray plains hiding a secret humanity had carefully buried for decades. Beneath thousands of meters of dust and stone, vast metallic hangars stirred, as if waking from a long sleep. Engines hummed. Power grids surged. Encrypted networks flickered to life. Humanity was preparing to rise. Far below, in Bunker Helios 7, a room glowed with the pale light of 100 monitors. Streams of alien data flowed across screens like shifting rivers. Code broke apart, reformed, and dissolved again under relentless digital assault. This was the realm of the Ghost Division, hackers, engineers, and cyber operatives who once battled governments, corporations, and each other. Now, they fought for something far greater. Their leader was a woman known only by her call sign, Nyx. No last name, no past, only whispers. She sat cross-legged atop a swiveling chair, her fingers flickering across a virtual interface. Auburn hair tied in a messy bun, eyes reflecting lines of alien code. She looked more like an artist painting light than a soldier. A projection of Helena Ward appeared beside her. "Report," Helena said. Nyx didn't look up. "We're in what capacity?" "All of it, Commander. Their command relays, their patrol logs, their fleet registries, their cultural archives, their military doctrines." She paused. "Even private correspondence." Hale, standing beside Helena, blinked. "You hacked their private messages?" Nyx shrugged as if she had opened someone's unguarded Wi-Fi router. It wasn't even password protected. Their species never needed cybersecurity. They won every war for 10 millennia. Why defend what no one can threaten? Helena exhaled sharply. So we have full access. Nyx spun in her chair. More than that, we can rewrite their data. We can mimic their officers. We can issue commands. She grinned. We're ghosts in their empire's nervous system. Helena studied the hacker for a moment. And you're certain they haven't detected you? If they did, Nyx replied, we'd already be dead. On the far side of the moon, in the cavernous shipyards, the first human fleet in history gathered. Warships forged from lunar steel. Engines humming with experimental drive systems. Armor plating built to withstand meteoric impacts and nuclear blasts. The smallest vessel was the size of a skyscraper. The largest, called the Xyrath, was a moving fortress, bristling with rail cannons, EMP lances, shield projectors, and drone swarms. Captain Arin Solara, chosen by merit and by near-unanimous vote from surviving officers, stood at the helm of the lead ship Horizon's Edge. He was young by command standards, just 42, but his calm, steady voice had guided rescue operations across half a dozen continents during the bombardment. He had earned the trust of a world. Fleet status, he asked. His executive officer, Lieutenant Imani Reese, handed him a tablet. 312 ships combat ready. 170 still under assembly, but capable of frontline support. All pilots present. All weapons online. All systems synchronized. Arin nodded. Good. Tell the fleet to prepare for silent launch. No transmission? Imani asked. No transmissions, Arin replied. Not even encrypted. We leave as shadows. Back on Earth, Helena watched through a live feed as ships rose one by one from the moon's dark side, engines glowing like embers against a void. It was a sight no human had imagined they would see in their lifetime. A true interstellar fleet, not built for exploration, but vengeance. Where are they heading first? Hey, lass. Helena's eyes narrowed. To a system the Xyrath don't consider important, she said. A border colony. Their patrols are weak there. We will strike where they expect nothing. Not their capital? Not yet. You don't stab a giant first. You cut its tendons. Hale nodded grimly. And Nyx. Helena tapped her earpiece. Nyx, update. Nyx's voice drifted back through a mix of static and alien encryption. They haven't noticed a thing. I rerouted their patrol ships. Blinded 3 sensor clusters. Backed up their main fleet by 6 hours. Why 6? Because, Nyx said with a smirk Helena could almost hear, that's how long it will take for Captain Solara to punch a hole through their outer colonies. Captain Solara's fleet arrived at their first destination, the Arovan Fringe, a quiet system on the edge of Xyrath territory. A single Xyrath outpost orbited a gray, barren moon. Small garrison. Unarmored. Complacent. They're hailing us, Imani said. Let it through. A 4-eyed officer appeared, sneering. Unregistered vessels. Identify your allegiance or be. He fell silent as he recognized a human visage. You, he hissed. Insects. Insects. The same word Korveth had used when he ordered the bombardment of Earth. Arin's expression didn't change. I offer you one chance, he said softly. Surrender your post. Lay down your weapons. No harm will come to you. The Xyrath officer laughed. Insects bargaining with gods? Arin ended the transmission. Destroy their weapons, he ordered. Only the weapons. The Horizon's Edge fired a single rail shot. 1. The Xyrath station's cannons vaporized instantly, billowing silent fire into space. Send ground forces, Arin said. Armored pods streaked toward the moon, bursting open midair to reveal human soldiers in exosuits, sleek, black, maneuverable. Xyrath troops scrambled. They were elite, strong, born for war, but they had never fought humans in enclosed spaces, never faced a species that adapted in minutes and used to reign like a second skin. The battle lasted 14 minutes. When the smoke cleared, every Xyrath soldier lay defeated. Not dead, stunned, bound, disarmed. Arin stood among them. Treat the wounded, he commanded his medics, and open the gates. As the doors of the underground chamber slid open, dozens of alien captives, thin, frail, terrified, stared back in disbelief. "We're not here to enslave you," Arin said gently. "We're here to free you." The first world fell, not with fire, not with ruin, but with justice. Back aboard the horizon's edge, Imani approached Arin with fresh briefing. "Word is spreading fast," she said. "The freed species are sending encrypted transmissions. They are asking if humanity is different." Arin smiled faintly. "They'll learn soon enough." He looked toward the stars, toward the enormous shadow of the Xyrath Dominion. "Prepare the fleet," he said. "One down." He stepped forward. Thousands ago. The fall of the Arovan fringe echoed across the Xyrath Dominion like a tremor before an earthquake. What should have been a routine defense, an insignificant border outpost, had collapsed in minutes. Worse, the attackers were not some unknown anomaly. They were humans, a species the Dominion had written off as insects. In the obsidian-lit throne chamber of the Xyrath capital world Vorthal, High Marshal Corveth stood before the towering Emperor Xyrath. The Emperor's 4 eyes glimmered with cold fire as he listened to the report. "You lost an outpost to primitives?" the Emperor hissed. Corveth inclined his head. "They struck without warning. Their ships, they are unlike anything in our archives." "A handful of trick vessels mean nothing," Xyrath snapped. "The Dominion spans 3,000 worlds. We have crushed species stronger than these mammals." Corveth remained silent. He had fought hundreds of battles. He knew the difference between a lucky victory and the beginning of a storm. And this was a storm. "How many ships did they deploy?" the Emperor demanded. Corveth hesitated. "Over 300 warships." A hush fell over the chamber. Even the Emperor's claws stilled. 300? Xyrath repeated. "From a species that barely pierces atmosphere?" "Apparently, they hid their true strength," Corveth murmured. The Emperor slammed a limb into the stone floor, cracking it. "Unacceptable. They will be extinguished completely." Corveth bowed. "I will gather the Grand Armada. For 1,000 ships." Xyrath's voice dropped to a chilling whisper. "Make this your vow, Corveth. Bring me the severed world of Earth. Or do not return." But while Xyrath's anger burned toward revenge, humanity was 2 steps ahead. In Bunker Helios 9, Helena Ward studied a star map projected across the air like a shimmering tapestry. Worlds glowed in red, Xyrath colonies. Worlds in blue, liberated systems. New flickers were appearing everywhere. Which ones rebelled? Helena asked. Nyx zoomed the map in. 27 worlds have risen, she said. Xyrath slave species have begun open resistance. They're spreading footage of our victories. Apparently, humans are becoming inspirational. Hale blinked. Us? Inspirational. Nyx smirked. That's new, I know. But Helena didn't smile. Rebellions draw attention, she said. Xyrath retaliation will be brutal. It already is. Nyx tapped the screen. 3 liberated planets were bombarded. They want to make an example. Helena inhaled slowly. They don't understand, she said. Every atrocity steals our resolve. Every attack pulls more allies to our side. She pointed to the map. We free as many worlds as we can. We show the galaxy a choice they've never been given. Hope. Meanwhile, Captain Arin Solara's fleet surged deeper into Dominion territory. The next target, the Turion Spindle, a massive industrial hub supplying weapons to the Xyrath war machine. Orbiting, it was a fortress station Vakruin, a behemoth bristling with cannons. Any chance they surrender? Lieutenant Imani asked. Arin didn't even glance up. None. He examined the tactical scans. It's too fortified for a direct assault. So what's the plan? Arin smiled faintly. We break their spine before we break their wall. He nodded to the comms officer. Patch me through to the Ghost Division. Nyx's face appeared as a floating hologram. Captain, she greeted, sipping coffee. Ready for mischief? Arin folded his arms. I need every piece of that fortress turned against itself. Nyx grinned wickedly. Say no more. Her fingers danced across invisible code. Lines of alien text blurred. Firewalls dissolved like tissue paper. Within seconds, alarms erupted across the fortress station. Inside its command deck, Xyrath officers scrambled. Why are the docking clamps disengaging? Who fired the fusion torpedoes? Sir, our weapons are locking onto our own fleet. Chaos erupted. Half the station went dark. Drones malfunctioned. Hangar bays opened into vacuum. Automated systems fired into empty space. The giant fortress became a panic machine tearing itself apart. Arin wasted no time. All ships advance. The human fleet swept in like spear points. Precision strikes hammered the fortress's remaining cannons. Railgun fire shredded defensive plating. EMP pulses neutralized thruster arrays. Within 30 minutes, the most fortified station in the quadrant lay crippled. Enemy flagship is broadcasting distress, Imani said. Arin shook his head. They're isolating themselves. No reinforcements. Nix, your timing was flawless. In my defense, she replied, they made it too easy. Prepare boarding pods, Arin ordered. We're taking the station. Human Marines surged through its corridors. Xyrath resistance was fierce, raw, desperate, brutal, but uncoordinated. Their systems were still in disarray. Arin moved with his squad, plasma rifle humming. His voice echoed through his helmet. Push them back. Gate chamber ahead. Explosions rocked the walls. Smoke billowed. A wounded Xyrath officer lunged with a blade of crackling energy. Arin sidestepped and countered, striking with practiced efficiency. Moments later, the fortress command center fell. Dozens of Xyrath soldiers dropped their weapons. Arin lowered his rifle. This facility is under human protection, he declared. Any who surrender will not be harmed. One officer spat. Why spare us? Arin studied him. Because you're soldiers, he said, not executioners. News of the Turion Spindle's fall spread even faster than the Arovan victory. Across the Dominion, fear crept into places it had never lived. The Xyrath were supposed to be invincible, but humans had shattered an outpost, then a fortress, then a supply hub. 3 victories, 3 humiliations, on world after world. Slaves whispered, the humans are coming. The humans free us. The humans fight for everyone. A legend was growing, a myth, a spark. At last, the inevitable happened. Corveth strode into the war chamber on Vorthal, eyes burning with rage. Enough of skirmishes, he snarled. Enough underestimation. He pointed to the holographic star map. All forces will retreat to the capital. We gather every ship, every cannon, every pilot. For 1,000 vessels will defend our home. And the humans, an officer asked. Corveth's voice rumbled. Let them come. Let them throw their pathetic fleet into the jaws of our empire. He leaned closer. We will crush their hope. But outside the chamber, rumors stirred. Officers whispered of human cunning, of impossible victories, of hacked networks, of enslaved worlds rising with them. And a question lingered everywhere. What if humans cannot be crushed? What if humans are different? The seeds of fear had sprouted. The Dominion was no longer an empire. It was a cornered beast. And humanity was closing in. Space stretched like an endless sea of darkness ahead of the human fleet. In that darkness, the Xyrath Dominion was gathering everything it had, for 1,000 warships assembling over their capital, like a storm forming in the void. But humanity wasn't moving blindly. They had a plan so audacious, so unthinkable, so psychologically devastating that it could only come from a species forged in chaos. Inside the flagship Horizon's edge, Commander Arin Solara stood before a projection of the enemy capital system. Monolithic Xyrath battleships clustered around Vorthal, massive, insect-like constructs blinking with energy shields and ion cannons. Lieutenant Imani Reese pointed. They're consolidating faster than expected. We count 3,911 vessels already. Arin nodded slowly. Then we have less time than we thought. Behind them, the doors hissed open and Helena Ward entered the strategy chamber, flanked by Colonel Hale and Nix. The crew straightened automatically. Report Helena said. Arin gestured toward the star map. The Dominion has recalled every combat ship. They're preparing for a final stand. Good, Helena said. A single battlefield makes our job easier. Hale frowned. Easier? Ma'am, their numbers outmatch us 6-1. Helena's answer was calm. We're not fighting with numbers. We're fighting with fear. Nyx smiled darkly. And they're very easy to scare. The hologram flickered. Red clusters represented Xyrath fleet groups. Blue points represented human vessels. Tiny by comparison, but moving with purpose. Helena pointed to the enemy formation. We know the Xyrath psychology. Their entire structure depends on dominance. Superiors command. Inferiors obey. No flexibility. No improvisation. She tapped the projection. We break their chain of command. The entire fleet collapses. Hale leaned forward. How? Nyx's eyes gleamed. With a virus. Arin raised an eyebrow. Another hack? Not a hack, Nyx corrected. A message. One they can't ignore. She brought up a new display. What do Xyrath fear most? She asked. Imani answered. Losing control. Exactly. Nyx tapped her screen. So we're going to send them something they can't classify, can't categorize, and can't rationalize. Arin folded his arms. Explain. Nyx grinned. We're going to send them the names. Hale's face paled. All 2 billion? Yes, Nyx said softly. Every single human who died in the attack. One by one, broadcast across their empire, in their language, with no way to stop it. Helena finished the thought. They will face the weight of every life they ended, every soul they erased. They think we're insects? Let them understand insects don't forget. Arin stared at the glowing star map, imagining what the message would do. To send this across all their networks, he murmured. It'll shake their empire. Hale's voice was hushed. It might break it. Helena nodded. Exactly. The message began the next day. Across the Dominion, every Xyrath communication device flickered. Screens in military barracks. Screens in command ships. Screens in civilian towers. Then words, human words, appeared in harsh, glowing glyphs. At first 1 name, then 10, then 1,000, then millions. Names from every culture, every nation, every age. A relentless, unstoppable river of identity. A reminder that none of those lives were numbers. They were people, and humanity remembered all of them. On a mining world, Xyrath workers stared, confused. On a slave world, alien prisoners whispered. On the Capitol, the high-class Xyrath froze in horror. Every screen, every device, every system. No matter where they looked, the Dominion saw. We remember them all. Inside the Xyrath War Council chamber, panic erupted. Shut it down, one general roared. We can't, another snarled. The data isn't coming from an external node. It's coming from inside the network. Corvette stared at the cascading names, his 4 eyes trembling. How is this possible, he whispered. No answer. Just the endless river of the dead. 1 million more names. Then another 1 million. This is psychological warfare, an officer whispered. They're trying to weaken morale. Corvette slammed his fist onto the table, cracking the obsidian surface. They will not succeed. Humans are nothing. We are the Dominion, he roared. Prepare the armada. But even as he spoke, he saw the looks in the eyes around him. Fear, doubt. The humans had pierced something deeper than armor. They had pierced the Xyrath mind. Meanwhile, Arin Solara stood on the bridge at the horizon's edge, watching the final streams of names finish broadcasting. How long until they recover? He asked Nyx. She exhaled. They won't recover, Captain. The Dominion has no concept for grief. They do not mourn their dead, because they have never lost. Imani nodded. This message isn't just names, it is a revelation, a truth. Arin turned toward the star map. And the truth is? Nyx answered softly, that humans are not weak, that humans don't break, that humans remember. The fleet neared its final jump point. the path that would take them directly into enemy space, straight toward the Dominion's capital. Imani swallowed hard. Captain, this battle will be different. Their entire military force is gathered there. Arin rested a hand on her shoulder. And so are we. He lifted his voice so the entire bridge could hear. We fight for Earth. The crew responded. For the fallen. For every world they enslaved. For freedom. Arin turned toward the stars, toward the heart of the Dominion. Prepare for final warp, he announced. On my mark. The hum of the engines deepened. 3. Lights dimmed. 2. The gateway to the battle flickered open. 1. Jump. Humanity vanished into the void, and the final war began. The jump tore open the void like a silent wound, and the human fleet burst out of hyperspace in a flare of white-blue light. Before them loomed Vorthal, the Xyrath homeworld, an obsidian sphere veined with molten rivers, ringed by colossal fortresses, and surrounded by thousands of warships drifting like predatory insects. It was beautiful in a terrible way. A world built by conquerors. A sanctuary of tyrants. On the bridge of Horizon's edge, alarms chimed as sensors absorbed the impossible sight. Lieutenant Imani Reese inhaled sharply. Captain, look at the numbers. Arin Solara didn't blink. I see them. 4,000 Xyrath warships. Battleships lined with serrated hulls. Cruisers glowing with plasma charge. Carriers releasing swarms of drone fighters. Their formation was perfect. A geometric lattice meant to trap anything inside it. At the center hovered the flagship, the Reaver Crown, dwarfing everything around it. Imani whispered, their capital defense fleet is overwhelming. Arin finally spoke. Good. They're right where we want them. In the war chamber aboard the Reaver Crown, High Marshal Xyrath stood tall as his fleet locked into position. Despite the fear the humans had seeded, this was where the Dominion was strongest. Open channels, he barked. A chorus of guttural confirmations echoed around him. All ships, Xyrath growled. The moment we fire, humanity ends. Today, the Dominion remind the galaxy why it rules. The Dominion fleet shimmered as energy shields activated. Thousands of violet domes forming a near-impenetrable armor. Ready primary cannons. Xyrath commanded. A tremor rolled through the chamber as titanic weapons began charging. One clean barrage would vaporize the human fleet. Victory felt inevitable. But then, something unexpected happened. The human ships did not form defensive lines. They did not scatter. They did not retreat. They accelerated straight toward the Xyrath superformation at full speed. Xyrath's eyes widened. What are they doing? On the horizon's edge, Arin Solara braced himself as the ship shuddered under the strain of maximum acceleration. Imani gripped the railing. Captain, if we continue this trajectory, we'll be inside their firing range in... Exactly the idea, Arin said calmly. Sir, that's suicide. Arin turned, his voice steady. They think we're charging the formation. He pointed ahead. We're not. We're charging the mind that controls it. Helena Ward appeared on the main tactical display from her command module deep within the fleet. Captain, she said, commence Operation Eclipse. Arin nodded. All ships deploy decoy trails. Thousands of micro-drones shot from human vessels, splitting into shimmering phantom signatures. The Dominion sensors glitched. Human ships multiplied, blurred, vanished, reappeared. To Xyrath systems, the fleet suddenly became 50 times larger. Inside the Dominion formation, officers panicked. Marshal, their numbers impossible. Our scanners compromised. Multiple strike groups approaching. Xyrath snarled. Maintain discipline. But discipline was already fracturing. The Dominion had never faced a distorted battlefield. They had never fought an enemy who fought with illusion. Imani checked her displays. Our stealth fields are holding. They can't track real positions. Arin gave a faint smile. Good. Now, we show them what humans do under pressure. He opened a comm channel to the fleet. All vessels initiate Delta Surge. The fleet suddenly broke into chaotic motion, zigzagging, spiraling, accelerating, decelerating. Individual pilots moved like madmen because humans didn't fight with rigid doctrine. They fought with instincts born from centuries of unpredictable wars. Imani watched the human ships weaving through the void. No formation, no pattern. How do they control this? Arin answered simply, "They don't. They adapt." Back in the Dominion command chamber, the formation, perfect moment ago, was collapsing. "Marshal, they're everywhere. They're inside the outer lines." "No, those are decoys. This can't be happening." Corveth's 4 eyes burned. "Silence. Regain control. Fire at will." The Dominion opened fire. 4,000 ships unleashed a storm of plasma, nuclear shells, pulse lances, and atomic beams, lighting the void like an exploding sun. But their shots hit illusions. Ghosts. Reflections. The real human fleet was already slipping beneath the incoming barrage, sliding like fast shadows toward the heart of formation. Arin seized the moment. "Nyx, activate Spectre Protocol." Nyx's voice came through with a wicked grin audible in her tone. "Gladly." Deep within the Dominion network, Nyx's silent programs awakened. Thousands of Xyrath warships suddenly received contradictory orders. "Retreat. Advance. Hold position. Fire on Sector 6. Do not fire. Chaos." Xyrath vessels collided. Others reversed direction randomly. Entire lines crumbled without a single human shot fired. It was psychological warfare in digital form. Imani whispered, "They're breaking. Captain, they're really breaking." Arin nodded. "This is what happens when you fight a species that has never tasted uncertainty." With the Dominion formation shattered, Helena Ward spoke across all human channels. "Now, while they're confused, strike hard." Arin raised his hand. "All ships, ye engage." The Horizon's Edge fired the first shot. A rail slug accelerated to 30,000 meters per second. It tore straight through a Dominion cruiser, splitting it in half like a cracked bone. The rest of the fleet followed. Missiles spiraled into engine cores. EMP bursts fried drone swarms. Torpedoes detonated shield generators. Laser grids carved through hulls. The void erupted into a kaleidoscope of fire and shrapnel. Humanity surged forward, crashing into Dominion lines like a living tidal wave. Inside the Reaver Crown, Corveth clung to his throne as explosions rippled across his fleet. "Impossible," he roared. "We are the Eternal Dominion. We do not lose." But the truth was written across every burning screen. They were losing. Badly. Arin's voice echoed across the bridge. Push toward their flagship. The Reaver Crown is a nerve center. If it falls, their entire network collapses. Imani nodded. "Then let's cut off the head." Arin stared into the storm of fire ahead. For Earth. For the fallen. For the future. The Horizon's Edge dove into the inferno. Straight toward the heart of the Dominion Empire. The Dominion's capital system burned. Human ships carved through the once mighty formation like lightning splitting an ancient tree. Xyrath vessels, built with arrogance, piloted with rigid doctrine, could not calibrate fast enough for the chaos humanity unleashed. The Reaver Crown, pride of the Dominion, hovered like a wounded beast at the center of the shifting battlefield. Its obsidian hull shimmered with shield energy, but its supporting fleet was failing around it. Explosions rippled across the void. The Horizon's Edge tore through the smoke of dying warships, engines blazing. Captain Arin Solara stood at the helm, eyes locked on the Dominion flagship. "That's our target," he said. "Everything ends there." Lieutenant Imani Reese tightened her gloves. "We break the command structure, we break the Dominion." "Exactly," Arin replied. A tactical officer called out, "Enemy cruisers blocking the approach." Arin didn't hesitate. Cut through them. The Horizon's Edge fired its main rail cannon. The slug punched through the first cruiser, then the second. Both erupted into fireballs. Imani steadied herself against the impact shock. Shields down to 60%. "Plenty," Arin said. "Forward." Inside the Reaver Crown, High Marshal Corveth staggered as another quake rattled the walls. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Consoles flickered. Officers screamed orders. "Marshal, our entire left wing is gone." We've lost the third Dominion Guard. More human warships incoming. They're attacking the central node. Xyrath smashed his fist into a console. Hold your positions. But the truth was spreading across the Reaver Crown like a virus. They were losing, and the humans weren't just fighting, they were hunting. A communications officer cried out, "Marshal, incoming transmission in our language." Xyrath froze. "Put it through," he snarled. The screen crackled. Commander Helena Ward appeared, calm, composed, eyes burning like twin stars. "This is your final warning," she said. "Stand down." Xyrath bared his fangs. "Human filth. You dare." Helena cut him off. "We gave you a chance to retreat. You refused. We gave you a chance to change. You refused. Now you face the consequences." Xyrath roared, "You are primitives. You are insects. You." Helena leaned forward. "Insects don't come for the hive," she said softly. The transmission cut. All across the Dominion flagship, something changed. Fear. Real fear. Not confusion. Not arrogance. An emotion their species had not felt in 10,000 years. Back outside, human fighters swarmed like metallic hornets. Frigate squadrons dove between Dominion destroyers, planting magnetized charges. Explosions scattered flaming debris across the battlefield. Imani watched the readings. Their formation has collapsed. They're unraveling. Arin nodded. "Keep pressure on the crown." At that moment, 6 Dominion dreadnoughts moved to intercept the horizon's edge. Imani paled. "Captain, they're trying to shield the flagship." Arin smirked. "Let's cut through their shields then." He opened comms. "All ships, execute striker run." 20 human warships broke formation, engines igniting like white suns. They accelerated into a dangerous combat sprint. One taught only to elite pilots. The dreadnoughts fired. Human ships weaved. The dreadnoughts retargeted. Human ships vanished off scans, reappeared behind them. Then, a barrage of missiles, rail slugs, EMP blasts, and microdrones detonated across the dreadnought line. Half the enemy interceptors exploded instantly. The rest drifted crippled, their engines dead. Imani exhaled a shaky laugh. "Path cleared. Then we go through." Arin said. The horizon's edge surged toward the Reaver Crown. The crown responded with fury. Plasma bolts slashed across the void. Ion beams seared through space. Shockwaves buffeted human vessels. Hull plates vibrated with the force of detonations. Imani gripped her console. Shields at 39%. Arin's voice remained calm. "We only need 10. The ship dove under a barrage, engines screaming. Human fighters flanked them, drawing fire, sacrificing themselves to open a corridor. Distance to target? Arin asked. 8,000 meters. Bring us closer. Inside the crown, Xyrath watched the horizon's edge approaching like a comet. "Impossible," he whispered. "They charge into our strongest fire." "Marshal, they're not stopping." A terrible realization hit Xyrath. The humans were not afraid to die, because they had already lost 2 billion souls, because they had been forged in annihilation, because vengeance was heavier than fear. Outside, the horizon's edge finally crossed the Reaver Crown's defensive line. "Target the shield core," Arin commanded. "Locked." "Fire." The ship's main cannon unleashed a blinding shot. The slug impacted the crown shield array, shattering half the dome in a cascade of sparks. "Direct hit," Imani shouted. Again. Another shot. The remaining shields flickered. The crown's core exposed. Arin clenched his fists. One last shot. The horizon's edge fired. The crown shields failed entirely, falling like shattered glass. Imani gasped. "Shields are down. The flagship is exposed." Arin lifted his hand. "Prepare boarding strike." On the Reaver Crown, alarms wailed. "Breach incoming." Xyrath turned sharply. "Breach." Where? As he spoke, the horizon's edge launched dozens of boarding pods. They streaked through the void like flaming arrows, piercing the crown's hull. One pod slammed into the command deck wall, blowing molten metal into the air. From the smoke emerged human marines, black armor glinting, visors glowing. At the front was Arin Solara. Corveth snarled. You. Arin raised his rifle. Us. The battle for the Reaver crown had begun. Human Marines poured into the corridors. Plasma blades clashed with hard light shields. Rail pistols cracked like thunder. The corridors filled with smoke and sparks. Xyrath warriors fought savagely, but disorganized. Humans fought with efficiency, relentless, cohesive, precise. Arin and Corveth closed the distance. One represented an empire built on domination. The other represented a species forged through survival. Your kind should have died when we first struck your world, Corveth growled. Arin stepped forward. And your kind should have learned humility. Corveth charged, claws gleaming. Arin moved to meet him. Their clash would decide the fate of two civilizations. The command deck of the Reaver crown trembled as explosions rippled through its hull. Smoke coiled in the air. Sparks rained from shattered conduits, and alarms howled like wounded beasts. Human and Xyrath forces clashed across the chamber. Blades against plasma, shields against rail fire. But in the center of the chaos, time seemed to stand still. High Marshal Corveth, towering and armored, lunged at Captain Arin Solara with blinding speed. His four eyes burned with fury, his claws glowing with crackling energy. You defile the Dominion's throne room, he roared. Arin rolled aside as a plasma claw sliced through the air where he had been standing. The impact scorched the floor, melting metal. You destroyed our cities, Arin said. We're just returning the visit. Corveth whirled, muscles bulging beneath armor plates. Your species should have died quietly. Arin raised his forearm shield, deflecting a slash that sent vibrations up his bones. We don't know how to die quietly. The two collided again, Corveth with brute force, Arin with speed and precision. The clang of metal echoed as Arin countered with a hard light blade, striking the marshal's arm, cutting deep into plated skin. Corveth snarled, black blood dripping. You insects think you can challenge gods. Arin circled him. We don't believe in gods. Their weapons sparked again. Across the command deck, human and Xyrath soldiers fought in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Sergeant Vale tackled a Xyrath warrior twice his size, locking a shock brace around his throat. Two human fusiliers dragged wounded allies toward cover as drones zipped overhead. Imani Reese fired precise bursts from her plasma rifle. Push them back. Secure the primary control columns. A Marine shouted, Lieutenant, they're trying to seal the core passage. Then open it. Imani snapped. We're not here to retreat. Human explosives detonated, blowing doors apart. The Marines surged forward. Hope, real defiant hope, flared across the deck. Corveth swung his dual plasma claws in a sweeping arc. Arin ducked, slid on the scorched metal floor, and drove his blade upward. The Marshal jerked back, but the hard light edge grazed his chest armor, leaving a glowing scar. Corveth staggered, shocked. You bleed, Arin said calmly. Good. That makes this fair. The Xyrath Marshal roared and lunged, slamming Arin into a steel pillar. Arin's breath exploded from his lungs. His vision blurred. Corveth lifted him by the throat. You think because you freed a few worlds, because you broke a few ships, that you can challenge the Dominion? Corveth hissed. Arin's feet barely touched the ground as he struggled to breathe. Corveth leaned close, his breath cold. Your species will die screaming. I will carve the lesson into your bones. Arin's hand moved slowly toward a small device clipped to his belt. Lesson? Arin whispered, choking. That's the thing about humans. He pressed the device. A concussive shock blast erupted point-blank into Corveth's face. The Marshal roared as he stumbled backward, armor cracking. Arin dropped to his knees, coughing hard. We don't learn the easy way, he said, rising. We learn through blood. He charged. Their weapons clashed. Hard light blade against plasma claws. Sparks lit the darkened bridge. Meanwhile, deep within the Dominion's capital fleet, thousands of Xyrath warships were in chaos. Because at that exact moment, Nyx executed the Ghost Division's final code injection. On every Dominion vessel, the Central Battle AI received a single corrupted command. Reset to factory mode. Every Xyrath ship's targeting matrix, flight formation, and tactical node froze for 0.8 seconds. Less than a heartbeat. But in battle, a lifetime, human ships struck instantly. Railguns shattered engines. EMP pulses crippled drones. Torpedoes ripped through exposed hulls. 300 Dominion ships died in that single heartbeat. On the Reaver Crown, Corveth felt the tremors vibrating through the deck. What have you done?" he demanded. Arin didn't answer with words. He swung. His blade carved through Corveth's forearm, severing the plasma claw. The Marshal roared in agony, black blood spraying across the deck. Arin didn't stop. "You wanted a lesson?" he said, advancing. Another strike. Corveth blocked with his remaining claw. "You wanted dominance?" Arin said, pressing forward. He landed a brutal kick to the Marshal's knee, bending it sideways. "You wanted obedience?" He slammed the hilt of his blade into the Marshal's skull. "And you called us insects." Corveth collapsed to one knee, wheezing. "Insects don't do this," Arin said. With one last surge, Arin drove his blade deep into the Marshal's armored chest. Corveth gasped, clutching the glowing wound as his four eyes widened. "You cannot win," he rasped. Arin leaned close. "We already have." He pulled the blade free. Corveth fell backward, the great High Marshal of the Dominion collapsing like a toppled statue of a fallen god. Silence spread across the command deck. Then Imani shouted, "The Marshal is down! The flagship is ours!" Human Marines roared in triumph. But Arin didn't celebrate. He turned toward the command throne. The Dominion's neural command network pulsed behind it. "That's what we came for," Arin said. "Take it." Helena Ward's voice came through the comm. "Captain Solara, is the Reaver Crown neutralized?" Arin replied, exhausted but resolute. "Affirmative. High Marshal Corveth is dead. Command Network Core is under our control." A long silence. Then Helena said softly, "Then humanity has broken the unbreakable." Imani scanned the battlefield through the viewport. "Captain, their fleet is collapsing. They're retreating across all sectors." Arin felt the weight of the moment settle into his bones. "Then it's over," he whispered. But Helena's voice came through once more. "No, Captain, not over." A pause. Now the Dominion must choose what to become. Arin stared at the fallen Marshal. "Then let's give them that choice." Outside the shattered flagship, thousands of Dominion ships dimmed their lights and powered down weapons. Panic rippled across their ranks. The Reaver Crown had fallen. Their Marshal was dead. An empire built on conquest had been crushed by those they called weak. A human fleet stood victorious above their homeworld. And for the first time in its long history, the Dominion faced surrender. The Dominion fleet drifted in stunned silence. Warships that once cast fear across entire star systems now floated powerless, their weapons cold, their command network broken. The fall of the Reaver Crown had sent a shockwave through every vessel, every outpost, every soldier in the Dominion. For the first time in their history, they were leaderless. And standing within the shattered throne hall of the Crown, Captain Arin Solara watched the Dominion's war machine grind to a halt. Imani Reese approached him slowly, armor scorched, helmet tucked under one arm. "It's over," she said softly. "Really over." Arin looked at the fallen body of High Marshal Corveth. "No," he said. "This is what happens after an ending." He stepped toward the throne, where the Dominion's neural command lattice pulsed with weakening light. Even damaged, it was still the heart of a vast empire. Helena Ward appeared on the holoscreen, looking more human than ever, tired, blood-spattered, but standing tall. "Captain," she said, "the remaining Dominion fleets have gone silent. They're waiting." Arin exhaled slowly. "Waiting for what?" "For us," Helena replied, "to decide their fate." The Reaver Crown's bridge windows displayed the sprawling capital world of Vorthal below, cities of obsidian spires, glowing magma rivers, and armored highways. Billions of Xyrath citizens watched the skies where their guardians once patrolled. Now, those skies were filled with human ships. Panic rippled across the planet. In the throne room, Imani hesitated. If we give the wrong order, we could collapse their entire civilization. Arin studied the Dominion Command Nexus, an ancient, elegant, terrifying architecture of neural threads and holographic nodes. They enslaved systems, he said. They wiped out worlds. They killed billions. Shouldn't they pay? Vale muttered from behind. Helena's voice came through again, firm but gentle. Justice isn't revenge, she said. Not anymore. We've already shown them our strength. Now we show them something they can't understand. Arin looked at the lattice. Mercy. A shocked silence fell across the Marines. Imani blinked. Captain, are you sure? Arin nodded. We didn't fight this war to become what we hated. He placed his hand on the Dominion's command interface. Open a galaxy-wide broadcast. Every Dominion ship, every outpost, every planet, every soldier. Screens crackled to life. The face of a human captain appeared before them. Not a conqueror, not a tyrant, a survivor. Arin Solara spoke clearly, every word shaped by fire and resilience. To the Xyrath Dominion, he began, your High Marshal is dead. Your flagship is taken. Your fleet is defeated. Billions of Xyraths stiffened in fear. But hear me, Arin continued. We did not come to exterminate you. We came to end your war. He stepped aside, revealing the fallen marshal's insignia on the ground. We remember what you did to us, Arin said. We carry our dead with us every day. But humanity rises not through cruelty, but through choice. A long silence. From this moment, the Dominion ends. No more forced expansion. No more enslaved worlds. No more genocide. Across the Dominion, shockwaves rippled. No threats. No ultimatums. A simple declaration. You will govern yourselves, Arin said, but you will not harm another innocent world again. Today is not your destruction. His voice softened. It is your second chance. On Vorthal's surface, Xyrath citizens stared up at the broadcast, mesmerized, confused, afraid, yet curious. On distant slave worlds, alien species cried in disbelief. On human refugee stations, survivors wept as they watched humanity speak with strength instead of hatred. In the command chamber, Helena Ward watched Arin's broadcast with a quiet pride. For the first time since Earth fell, she felt a glimmer of peace. Imani wiped her eyes subtly. He did it. He actually did it. Arin removed his hand from the command lattice. The Dominion's neural system dimmed. Not destroyed, just freed from its chains. Helena's voice came through, steady. Captain Solara. The Dominion fleets are standing down. They're powering off weapons everywhere. Cheers erupted across human ships. Officers embraced. Soldiers fell to their knees. Some cried. Others laughed. Others simply exhaled a breath they had been holding for years. Imani touched Arin's shoulder. We won. Arin smiled faintly. We survived. Hours later, on the horizon's edge, Arin stood alone before the viewport. The stars stretched endlessly, and the Dominion's capital world slowly rotated below. Imani joined him. They're already opening negotiations, she said. Xyrath delegates want to discuss reparations, shared borders, war consequences. Arin chuckled softly. Never thought I'd see the day. You earned it, she said. He shook his head. No, humanity earned it. Imani nodded. And what now? Arin looked at the stars, vast, dark, full of promise. Now, he said, we rebuild our home, and we guard the galaxy so nothing like this ever happens again. Later, Helena Ward addressed the entire human fleet. Soldiers of Earth, she said, you stood against extinction. You fought monsters and became the shield of a broken world. Marine battalions stood in unified silence. But the greatest thing you did, Helena added, was prove that even in the darkest war, humanity refuses to lose itself. Cheers shook every ship. Helena nodded at the camera. Welcome to the first day of peace. Back on the Reaver Crown, the Dominion's throne room lay quiet. Arin placed a small metal emblem, the insignia of Earth's defense forces, beside the fallen marshal's armor. Not victory, he murmured. Justice. He stepped away, leaving the emblem glowing softly in the fading light. in the quiet that followed the war, as the fleets pulled back and survivors looked up at new horizons, a new chapter began, one written not by conquerors, not by tyrants, but by humans who refused to let darkness define them. The galaxy would remember the day the Dominion fell, not because humanity crushed it, but because humanity changed it, forever.